Hello and welcome to Sincerely Elvis Presley. I'm Sean. Thanks for taking the time to tune in today. I really appreciate it. In the week, I was listening to my favourite Elvis live album, or certainly my favourite live album released while Elvis was still with us. And it is the magnificent, as I'm sure you've seen in the thumbnail, Elvis on Stage. February 1970, as it was called in some territories, but not here in the UK. And I got to thinking, I love that album so much. I love that particular second season in Las Vegas in January and February 1970 so much that I thought I'd like to do another episode on it. And when I say another, when I did my 70s series, I did focus on the second season in Vegas, and I showed quite a few things, and I thought, I don't really like repeating myself. I don't like doing the same thing again. I honestly, I think it shortchanges you, the viewers, if I just pull out the same things again. But thinking about it, since I recorded that, I think I've got about four, five, maybe six new pieces from that season, so I think I can get away with it. If you'll indulge me, I'll talk a little bit about that season, because I think it's worth a revisit. And also, I'd like to sort of see this as a bit of a homage to my best buddy David Hewlett. Now, David did an episode showing his own Elvis on Stage collection some time ago. If you haven't checked out David's channel, David's Elvis World, do yourself a favour, you're missing out. Go over there and check him out, because he's well worth a look. So yeah, this is kind of my homage to you, my friend. So, right, Elvis's second season. So he's played his first season in Las Vegas in August 1969, received an overwhelmingly amazing response. And he's got then sort of about 4 months to come up with some set changes for the second season, which begins on January the 26th, 1970 and runs through to February the 23rd. One of the major changes we see is the introduction. This is the first time Elvis starts wearing jumpsuits that he has designed by Bill Ballou. In the first season, he'd worn a two-piece, like a tunic and trousers, with sort of macrame belt type arrangements, and he hadn't felt that it gave him as much room to maneuver and move around with some of the phonetic tracks and stage movements, etc., etc. So he wanted something that was a bit freer and a bit looser, so the design came up based on the karate outfits for the jumpsuits. So that's the first major change we see in the second season. And I guess really, and I think I said this in the other one, and most people would agree, this season is a real bridge. It's kind of the best of both worlds almost. In 1969, Elvis was a bundle of nervous energy. He was like a wild beast unleashed on that stage, and you can hear the kind of he when he hits the high notes, there's almost a rasp in his voice. He projects this furious energy that is quite something to listen to. That's still there, and that's still present in the second season, but I think what you get is a bridge between that and the self-assured, confident performer of the third season, the summer season, in August of 1970. And that's not to say that the edge goes off him by the fact that the time you get to the summer season, by no means does that, that there's still that energy, there's still that passion. But I think he becomes more confident, more self-assured. He didn't know how he was going to be received in 69. And by the time he gets to his third season, he knows that audience is going to love him, and it allows him to sort of loosen up a little bit. And I think what you see in the second season is somewhere between the two. It's almost like an amalgam of the first and third seasons. Elvis changes up the set list, brings in things like Walk a Mile in My Shoes, Sweet Caroline, the magnificent Polk Salad Annie, Let It Be Me, We've got The Wonder of You, Release Me. All these are new tracks that he brings into the set for the second season. And, you know, he's still obviously doing things like Suspicious Minds. He's still doing some of his old hits, you know, that the crowd expect to hear. But, you know, it's a kind of bridge between the two, because by the time we get to the third season, 1970, there's a lot more new material coming in. So this is kind of the transition between the two as well. And I think it's the best of both worlds. It's you know, I've not heard one show that's not fantastic. Actually, I've not heard one show that's not fantastic from all three of those, the first three seasons. But, you know, there's something really special about this season, I think. So without further ado, let's have a look at what I can bring out and share in my collection. Now, when I did this season in the first time around, I did show one or two books. I'm not going to show any books at all this time. I'm just going to concentrate on the fantastic music. And I'm going to start with vinyl. I'm going to start with the first release, Elvis on Stage. Now, as I said before, this doesn't advertise itself as February 1970 along the top. Now, I'm not quite sure why in the UK they dropped that, because they certainly had it in other territories, including the States. As I said before, slightly misadvertising, because two of the tracks on this are from the 69 season. So whether that's just the British way, oh no, we can't misadvertise. No, take that off. I don't know why the UK version ended up without February 1970 on it. Now, this is a first press. This is the first press that comes with the souvenir poster. Some of the UK first pressings did have a hype sticker advertising the poster. Others didn't. Main difference between this and the US press is you don't get certain sections picked out in red, but you do get the same fantastic picture on the reverse. So let's just have a little look, see. So on your RCA orange, and this is the poster that came with it. It's advertised because it's got the catalogue number in the bottom. Let's see if I can just open this. I don't want to risk tearing it. I don't think I've shown this one before, but I know David showed it on his channel and plenty of others have shown it. But there is your poster that came with the original issue of On Stage. Let me get a shot from the 68 special. Quite hard to get that one into shot, and I do hope I can actually fold it back up again without making a mess of it. And I probably won't. So I'm going to put that on the floor before I make a complete hash of it. Oh dear. Right. There we go. There is your first issue. And as you can see, we get the first performance of CC Rider that's been released. We get Release Me, Sweet Caroline, Runaway from 69, The Wonder of You, Polk Salad Annie, Yesterday from 69, Proud Mary. That's new into the set as well this season. Walk a Mile in My Shoes, Let It Be Me. And the plan, the philosophy behind this from RCA was to kind of showcase Elvis doing other people's material, because the first issue, Live at the International, that had come out prior to this, was kind of Elvis doing his own songs. So, yeah, that is a fantastic first issue. Now, I do have Japanese issue. I don't think this is the first Japanese issue, if I'm right, but nevertheless, you see the red writing coming in at the top there, and the red boxes around side 1 and side 2, so that echoes the US press. You do get a nice little booklet with this one. As is normal with a lot of the Japanese releases, we get Japanese text, and on the bottom it announces On Stage February 1970, even though two of the tracks actually aren't February 1970. And there's your rest of your booklet. So there's the Japanese release on stage. Next up, we have Music on Vinyl. Limited edition of 2,500 numbered copies on transparent red vinyl. Recorded live in Las Vegas 1969 to 1970. So, you know, they're acknowledging the fact that it isn't actually all 1970. This is number 567 of the 2,500 copies. And there is your red boxes around this one as well. And just show you what's inside. So we get a lovely inner sleeve, and in actual fact I thought I'd put this in an anti-static sleeve and I haven't, so I might have to correct that after I finish recording this. And you do get a poster of the album cover like that. Fantastic. So that's a really nice one. Music on Vinyl. And I do have the Friday Music issue. What have we got on the back? Pretty much the same. We've got some red writing in there saying on stage and advertising the 180 grams. Got the red boxes around side 1 and side 2 and some text at the bottom. Recorded on stage at the International Hotel, Las Vegas, Nevada, and it's not being specific about what year. Inside, you actually get a replica of the original inner sleeve, which is quite nice because some of these Friday Music, you know, basically just replicate the front sleeve or one of the pictures from it inside, and it's a bit of a cop-out really. But we do get that, and this one is on very nice blue and black marbled splatter, call it what you will, I think they call it marbled vinyl. And as with the Music on Vinyl release, I think this gets the same poster. It does indeed. Now I don't know whether that was from the same stock. Let's just have a little look, because that's got a reference number in the corner, does this one? So that says 1970 2021 RCA Records, a division of Sony Music Entertainment. This one says 1970 2018 RCA Records, a division of Sony Music. So it is a different, they haven't used the same stock. That is actually a different poster. So there's all the vinyl copies of On Stage that I've got, but I do have this beauty as well. Now this is a MRS, and this is Las Vegas International Presents January through February 1970 on 2LP clear vinyl. And this is fantastic. This gives us the opening show 26th of January 1970, and this gives us the closing show 23rd of February 1970. Carefully restored and remixed to true stereo with outstanding expertise using the most sophisticated technologies. So there we go, bit of glare for the sleeve there, apologise. And as it says on the front, rather nice clear vinyl. And your inner gatefold gives you some photographs from the season. Glorious stuff. Absolutely glorious. So there's a couple there at least of the vinyl I think that I didn't have when I did my episode way back when. Now, where shall we move on to? Let's move on to the actual releases of the album itself on CD first. So this is the reissue from, I think, the 90s, if I remember rightly. 1990. So this was a nice reissue that gave you some bonus tracks. In the Ghetto, Don't Cry Daddy, Kentucky Rain, I Can't Stop Loving You, Suspicious Minds, Long Tall Sally, and Let It Be Me. So a nice little one-shot CD reissue. Nice little picture underneath the disc. And a little booklet, if I can get it out. Just with a few photographs and some information and your track list. So quite brief, but quite nice nevertheless. And the sound quality on that one isn't too bad. And then we got the Legacy edition, and this was 2010. So there is your Legacy edition, and there's your Hype, Elvis Presley, where the legend of Elvis in Vegas began. Now, the reason that it says that is because this gives you the 1969 Elvis in Person album as well at the International. So, you know, you do get where it began, because if it was just on stage. And let's face it, how many films and documentaries have tried to present Elvis's third season, the summer season 1970, as he's come back to live performance? Plenty. But there we go. So you get your cover of your 69 in person. You get your first disc, gives you Elvis on stage, but underneath we get a 69 shot. And I believe they switched that, so the in-person 69 gives you a February 1970 shot underneath. And we do get a little booklet, and we do get some extra tracks on this one as well, so it is a really good value package. You know, you get Don't Cry Daddy, Kentucky Rain, Long Tall Sally, and Rehearsal of the Wonder of You for the 70 season. And then for the 69 season, you get I Got a Woman, Jailhouse Rock, Don't Be Cruel, Heartbreak Hotel, Baby What You Want Me to Do, Reconsider Baby, and Funny How Time Slips Away. So all in all, a really great little value package. And, you know, if you just want a single, although it's double, but you know what I mean, you know, a basic kind of CD of that album, this is great. The sound's great. Well worth picking up if you know, if you don't have it and you just want a record of that first and second season. You can't go wrong, really. Beautiful stuff. And of course, this is a season where the concerts don't start as you'd expect. So it's not That's All Right. It's not Blue Suede Shoes, but he's starting most of the shows, if not all of them, with All Shook Up, which is something a little bit different to what we're used to. So, going one step further, there we have the FTD classic album release of On Stage, and you're getting significantly more material with this one. Significantly more. So we get the original album, February 18th Midnight Show, February 18th Dinner Show, February 19th Midnight Show. So yeah, absolutely brilliant release. Are my CDs going to fall out this time? No, looks like they're going to stay in. Looks like they're going to behave. So, well, you see, this is it. It's really annoying, FTD. I mean, that's just loose. There's no, yeah. And they've changed those middle spindles so many times. Plastic, sponge, different sorts of plastic. And some of them hold in, but then just some of them fall out like that, which is very, very annoying. So look at that. What a fantastic booklet. What a fantastic booklet. Just, you know, up in that quality level again in terms of what it gives you compared to, say, the Legacy release. Just, you know, they might have crappy old spindles sometimes, but they know how to do a nice little release in a booklet, don't they? So there we go. That's that one. Now, where do we go now? Well, let's stick with FTD, because we might see some discs fall out of this one. So this is, they've basically released 3 of these discs covering this season. So you've got the On-Stage album, you've got one called Off On Stage, which is one I don't have, and then you've got this one, the On-Stage season, opening and closing shows. And you'll see a theme here because I've got a lot of copies of the opening and closing show. I've got that vinyl for a start, which is the MRS one, which has a very similar sleeve to this as well. But there's your material. Elvis in his pale blue suit, looking fantastic. Now, I will carefully open this. Oh, no. Look at that. We managed to keep them in this time. Miraculous. So, the On-Stage season. Great stuff. And so this is definitely one that I added to the collection after I did the previous video. I'd really love the Off On Stage as well, just to complete all the FTDs on this season. But that one is quite pricey when it comes up now. Whereas I don't think I paid too much for this. I want to say about £20–30, something like that. It wasn't silly. So there's the opening and closing shows. So MRS, this is one again that gives some 69, some February 70. So we'll skip past 69, and this gives us the opening and closing shows. So this basically is the MRS CD version, but including 69 of that vinyl that I showed, the January through February, because it's the opening and closing shows. I mean, I do like the season, but I have got that opening and closing show quite a lot. Let's just go to, we'll skip 69 in the booklet, and we'll just show Jan–Feb 1970. Just fabulous. I've got some more versions of the opening and closing shows coming up, I think, if I remember rightly. Oh dear. We all do it though, don't we? We all do it. If something's that good, you just end up with multiple copies. And to heck with it. So, opening and closing show as part of this Las Vegas International, the first engagements, 1969 to 1970. So you do get 69 on there. And then we get this FTD release, which, if I remember rightly, I can't even see what the show is because the writing is so small. So I will put that up on the screen. But a bit naughty, this one. I remember when I showed this last time, and you know, showed the fact that it's a February 1970 show. I believe it's a complete. No, it's not a complete show. That's why it doesn't say, because we wouldn't be ending with the Wonder Review. In fact, we got the Wonder Review on there twice. No, this is a kind of a sort of amalgam, isn't it? Polk Saladani. That's why it's not specific. So, but come on, FTD. 1970, 1970, 1969. That's a bit sloppy, but nevertheless a very good CD and pretty easy to pick up. Now, here we go. These are Madison CDs. And guess what? Opening and closing shows. So, opening night, January 1970. Really nicely put together by Madison. Madison did do, I don't think they're operating now. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But they did do some real quality releases in their time. And this is certainly one of them. Just awesomely put together. I don't think you could sort of discern any difference between this and official product. Just really nicely done. Fantastic. So opening night, so what's that, the fourth? So this is the fourth version of the opening night that I've got. Third on CD and one of them's on vinyl, and then closing night. Brilliant. Brilliant. So there's closing night. Usual high standard that we saw in the first one, carried through to the second one. Awesome stuff. Fantastic. So, closing night again, fourth version of that one. Then I've got the little box set that I did show before. Quite a lot of material on this. You do get 7 CDs. There really isn't anything to show in terms of the CDs. They all look exactly the same, so not much effort there. But still a nice little box. I think I said before, it proudly claims that it's limited to 300, but you know, this has been put out in numerous guises with exactly the same material on by various bootleg companies. But yeah, nice little box set this. And then there's this, which I think does things considerably better. Now I think I did show this when I got it, and I think I may have flicked through it, but it's worth having another look at again. This one is, for me, one of the gold standards. This is rebooked at the International, January and February 1970 on Backdraft. And this is an absolutely fantastic set. Really, really good stuff. I think I probably get the opening night and closing night. Yep, you do. So there's the 5th version of those two shows. Oh dear. But nevertheless, in terms of a package, brilliant, brilliant stuff. Just how many pages do we get on this book? Does it tell us? 100 pages, 100-page book, and really, really nicely done. I love these long box sets. I just think you get the best of both worlds. You know, you get your fantastic music, and as you're listening to your fantastic music, you know, within the set itself, you get to look through a book, concentrating on, you know, the time and those particular shows. So yeah, I just love these long box sets. I think, as I said, when I managed to get my hands on this for a bootleg release, it's right up there in terms of quality. Really is superbly done. If this turns up and you get the chance to own it, I'd say go for it, because it really is top notch. And you know, why not? 5 copies of opening and closing night. Be nice to have a few more in between. I mean, I have got some in between, but oh dear. Just so well done, and the quality of the printing of the photographs is well done as well. You know, there's no real graininess in evidence. And what's nice about these sets is CDs don't fall out. Having said that though, when you get the smaller versions, so the not so long box sets that have those weird arrangements where they sort of clip in and you get 2 or 3 held together on the same side. I think they're a bit of a nightmare for the discs. I much prefer this kind of arrangement, but I suppose if you go in smaller and you go to more than 4 discs, it's a bit challenging. So then we get a piece on the album itself, and there we see the poster. That is German pressing that came with the same poster. And we even get then a little section on the jumpsuits. It's the rope suit, white pearl suit it calls it there. Black sleek gold suit, which as we see is kind of based upon one of the outfits of the dancers in the 68 special. White gold brocade suit, white silver brocade suit. Really nicely sort of understated, weren't they? The kind of original jumpsuits. Still, you know, flashes of colour there, but quite understated. So yeah, that is absolutely fantastic. Rebooked at the International. Highly recommended. And the last thing that I've got to show is something that the most recent I picked up to do with the January-February 70s season, and it's this beauty by Tupelo Productions. Now I have got another release by these, which is the Astrodome, and they do these fantastic sets. The stage power sets are by these guys as well. And they do these beautifully presented sets where you get them in kind of a gatefold LP style. Now, what this gives you is some soundboard recordings, some audience recordings. So discs 2, 3, 6 and 7 are audience recordings, and you get, according to the blurb, for the first time ever, the February 17th midnight show and the February 18th dinner show. Now, they are audience recordings. But the presentation, I know there's some horrendous glare on that, apologies, but the presentation, look at that. So when you open it up, you get a lovely booklet, but the way they present the CDs is fantastic. So if I can get them out. Each one has a different shot underneath it. So you get the idea. And they do come in and out fairly easy, actually. He says dropping them. So yeah, you get the idea. Each one has a different shot in a nice pink colour. So you get your 7 discs, and then you get this really nice little booklet, backed by popular request. This label really do things nicely. I really like these luxury packages. Although interestingly, this claims to be volume 1 of 2, and we're going to get some more, but this came out quite a while ago, and I think, as far as I'm aware, we've not seen volume 2. So where does this go to? February 18th. So we start at January the 26th and only go to February 18th. So presumably the plan is volume 2 will finish off, because obviously we get the opening show here, but it hasn't got the closing show on. So I can't wait to get the volume 2 so I can get another version of this, another copy of the closing show. You got a chuckle. I think that's about it, but yeah, nice little booklet, really nicely done. Fantastic. Really like this one. I just think the presentation's beautiful. And I think that's about it for my on-stage collection in terms of the music. I've got those couple of books that I showed before, but to be honest, the Lawrenson one isn't particularly impressive. Not one of my favourite books. But, you know, I think these kind of speak for themselves. Lots of fantastic performances. And in most of these releases, as you see, there's a fair amount of photographs and bits and pieces from that season anyway. So let me know what you think in the comments. What's your favourite Elvis Las Vegas season? Is it 69? Is it early 70, mid 70, or do you prefer a later season? I'd love to know what you think. So there we go. Thank you so much for indulging me and allowing me to kind of revisit a topic that I have done previously, but hopefully there was enough new stuff in there to share that made it worthwhile. It's certainly worthwhile to me. I can't get enough of the January-February 1970 season. So thank you so much for watching. I do hope that you've enjoyed it in some way. Next time, no idea what I'm going to do. I think I might well look at some Elvis books that cover the concert years, because there's been quite a few done over time, so I might pull some of those out and have a look at them next time. But whatever it is I do, have yourselves a great week. Take care of yourselves, everyone. Ta-da.
We'll meet you again. May God bless you. Adios.